Hello. I didn't know what was going on there for a minute, y'all. I still don't know. Oh, wait a minute. It said my phone has been updated. And oh, I'll tell you, I could not record there for a minute. So I don't know if my boots are on the ground, but I'm giving it my best shot, y'all. I got my boots on the ground. Hey, I feel pretty good this morning, y'all. I felt like crap yesterday, though. I'm going to tell you why. But first, I got to wash these dishes. These dishes are really getting on my nerve. And I got some oranges that's turning bad. I don't understand, y'all, why oranges these days are turning bad. And plus that, they don't even taste like they used to. What is going on with all the food? Nothing, I tell you. Nothing. It's like food is being hatched or something, manufactured food or something. I don't know what's going on, y'all. Whoops. Put too much dishwasher liquid in there. I don't have that many dishes, but I just wanted to wash them before I made my coffee because I made coffee yesterday and I didn't wash any dishes. So here I am, stuck with these dishes today. Don't you just hate that? I mean, once you leave dishes overnight, these are actually dishes from yesterday. And I shouldn't be telling on myself, but the truth is the truth. You know what I'm saying? And ain't no sense in telling no story. Because you know what? God knows the truth. So why should I lie to you? Like they say, only God has a heaven to put you in, or hell, or heaven, or whatever to put you in. Nobody else, y'all. So don't judge. It's not good to judge people. Uh, because sometimes we don't realize why a person is doing something or why they haven't done something. We don't know. So we don't really have that, we shouldn't judge. Because, see, we will also be judged by someone. Nobody is perfect, y'all. That includes me. Yes, right. I didn't feel like washing no dishes yesterday. And plus that, I went out yesterday. And let me tell you about my day yesterday, y'all. It started off, I felt good. Started off, I said, okay, I'm getting the heck out of here today. I'm going to Walmart. I'm going to shop, I'm going to the shopping center. And so, let me turn the water off. I hate that when the water makes all that noise when I'm trying to record. And so I called my ride. They said, well, you don't have any money on your book. I said, okay, well, put, it costs $10 per ride. And so I knew I had to go to a doctor's appointment next week, I think it is. Or is it a couple of doctors? I don't know. But anyway, I said, well, put $30 on it. And so I figured that would be enough for, today, which is yesterday. I'm speaking of yesterday. So that would be enough for today. And enough for my appointments in case I did have 2 appointments. And so she says, okay. And I said, okay, I want to book a ride. And she says, is there going to be a return trip? I said, I don't want the return trip to schedule a return trip right now. So I'm going to have to call because I have a big bag of bottles that I have to take back. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to do these things. And so she says, okay, we'll put you down as a will call. And I did my shopping first. No, I didn't do my shopping. I went to ShopRite, bottle, redemption place, okay? I get there. As a matter of fact, let me get back to when I left the house. And first of all, my ride was late. So I had to call them and ask them where the heck is my ride. And then I got this big bag of bottles sitting out on the porch that I got to babysit because, somebody come around and get them bottles, okay? This is that big bag. And so I wish it was a nice day. I didn't mind. I had my door open and everything. The only thing I was worried about is something going to fly up in here. But thank God, as far as I know, I did see one little something flying around in here. But, it was a beautiful day yesterday. It was in the 60s. I think the high was 67. And so I had to finally call them back after about a half an hour wait. Now, they don't usually, take that long for a ride to come. And so I got ready to call her. As a matter of fact, I got the operator on the phone. And just at that time, when I'm getting ready to talk to the operator, telling her that my ride, hasn't come, my ride shows up. Okay? And so I got to hurry and get off the phone, close my door, lock my door, because I'm on the porch the whole time that because I'm looking, because a lot of times people, they can't find my address. There's a problem with that as well. And so I waved to the driver, and you know what? They came, here come him and another lady walking up to my door. I said to myself, what is going on in here? I didn't know what was happening. And so they walked up to my door, which they don't usually do. You usually have to go out there to the car, And so in my case, I usually drive my scooter out to the car. But him and another lady came walking up there. I said, oh, I got two drivers today. And so she just said, well, she's just like a trainee. She's just standing. I forgot what the word that she used. But anyway, apparently she was like being trained to be, one of their drivers. And so he finally got the car up in there. But, even though she's a trainer, they don't usually come up to my door. They really do not. But it just so happens I was on the porch, like I said. And then he put my scooter in and everything. I said, I hope you got room for this big bag. He said, yeah, they'll fit back here. And so he put everything in there, and we rode on down to the shopping center. First stop, ShopRite. Redemption Center. It's almost about 12. I think by this time it's about 12 o'clock. 12 noon. And I get to there, and guess what? There's only one plastic bottle machine that's working. And one guy was using it. And so when he finished, he let me know he was done. He said, that's the only one that's working in here. I said, you mean tell me they only got one plastic? Because they had a label on there. It says both cans and plastic on a lot of the machines. And then they crossed the plastic off, the plastic part off. And so anyway, when he finished, I got, started doing mine. And it was going well, adding up until finally it got to about $4 and I think it was 80 cents. Darn machine stopped. And so the guy, he's still in there because he, the guy that was, using that machine before me, he's got cans, so he's still in there doing cans. He had a lot of stuff going on over there, this morning, And he said, you got to tell him. I said, tell who? And so he said, you got to go inside the store and let them know. I said, oh boy, by this time, okay, the big bag of cans that I had is no way there was no more than $4.80. Even a rocket science. I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist, but you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that there was more than $4.80. And so I goes inside, dragging my bottles, because the bag is still half full. Plus, I got bottles in my backpack as well. I goes to the courtesy desk, and I tell the courtesy desk, that the machine is not working. And she says, well, the guy that does that, he's out to lunch. And she said he won't be back until 1 o'clock. What? Have you lost your mind, lady? Are you trying to tell me that this guy is out to lunch, no machine is working, and I gotta wait 45 minutes before this guy comes? She said, I'm sorry. She said, he's out to lunch. I put my tail between my legs, y'all. Then I goes over. I said, I wonder if Walmart has a redemption center. I didn't know Walmart had one right there as you go in. Two little tiny machines, nothing compared to the other redemption center. And I asked the lady, you know how they have someone standing at the door. I asked her, do y'all have a canned redemption center? And she said, yeah. She says right outside. And it's just as you come in. As many times as I've been to Walmart, I never noticed that. But guess what? It wasn't working. Now that's on the same side as ShopRite's on. I said, oh my goodness, I gotta wait until 1 o'clock till this guy comes back, go back over there to ShopRite. I'm on my scooter, but it does take a while to get over there. And I said, I wonder, all these is right down the way there from Walmart. I said, I wonder, all these has one. I'm going to all these and ask them. And they say, yeah, there is one right over there. And many times I've been to all these, never noticed that. As you get to the register, just, the outside, it's way it's in the corner over there from the register. At the end, as you checking out, if you go look over to your left, there is a 2 redemption machine. I said, oh, shooky now. I said, I am in luck now. I goes over there with my big bag of cans, my bottles. And I put one in there. And guess what shows up? We do not take that kind of bottle or something like that, they said. I said, oh, heck to the no. Okay, this is the way my day is going thus far. But you know what? I still remain calm. I started to go across the street to Stop and Shop. I said, well, I got to go to Stop and Shop anyway. But then I said, matter of fact, I started to go over there. But then I said, nah, I'm going to go because by this time it's almost 1 o'clock. Messing around, doing this and doing that and doing the third. And I need to wash my dishes, but, still talking. I can't, chew gum and talk at the same time, yeah. I get back over there to ShopRite. And then there's this guy, he wants to know if he could hitch a ride with me. I know he's kidding, but I wasn't in the mood for jokes. I'm perturbed now. I'm just like Popeye the Sailor. I stood all looking stands and I can't stand no more. So I need to regroup, pull myself together, relax, nice day, enjoy the sunshine. I took my jacket off. I had a jacket on, I had a sweater on, and then I had the short sleeve shell on as well, and a sweater, the cardigan. And so I was able to sit in the sunshine. It was really hot in the sun. And took my jacket off, my little black jacket. So I took that off and sat there. I said, okay, he's coming back at 12, at 1 o'clock. So the lady at the courtesy desk already know. So the guy who wants to hitch a ride with me, he comes over, he finally gets there with his little bag of tricks that he got. I think he was just hoping to get $1 worth of cans. Matter of fact, he was looking at all kinds of trash cans and stuff. I saw him, but I didn't say anything because it was none of my BIB business. Because I started to just go ahead and give him a few cans, so he could make sure he had $1. But anyway, I told him, okay, when we first get there, there's nobody there. And so he said, did you tell them? I said, yeah, I told them. I said, they told me I had to wait until 1 o'clock because it's still not quite 1 o'clock yet, but I'm sitting outside waiting. And he decided he going to go in there and try something else. But it didn't work for him, so it didn't do him no good. And so I guess he went in. No, there was a guy, collecting carts outside. So he told the guy outside. And so the guy outside came and did something. And I think the machine was it was operable. It was working. The one that, about the bottles, the one that I had tried, used before, he did something and got it to going or something or other. Because I don't think he didn't empty it or anything. He said it's working. And so I told the guy with the little bitty bottles, I said, you can go ahead and go first. And then there's a lady over there talking to herself, talking to something. I don't know if she was talking to me or not, but I responded, I think she was more or less talking to herself, a little cuckoo, what I'm saying, a little cray cray. And so she had some bottles as well. And she went in there and she was trying, how people leave bottles around that won't go in, they won't, register and whatever. She's in there trying to empty bottles in there. I said, what is going on with these people? But I realize that there's some people that really depend on these bottles. Because I used to put mine on the street until I realized there's money in this. And so I started saving them myself. And believe it or not, since I've been saving them, I think I counted it yesterday because I put it in a separate place. And I said, by golly, I think it was almost 40 some dollars that I've saved since I started collecting them myself. My own bottle, not bottles on the street. Just saving my own water bottles and a soda bottle here and there, because I don't drink that many soda. So basically, there was just mostly water bottles. And I did have one can. But by the time this guy gets through, okay, with his little bag of tricks or whatever, until it's my turn. And so I goes back in there and I had $7.10 more. So my whole total was 11, almost $12, not quite. But I thought it was gonna be more than that, so I really did. But it was almost 12. Or was it $12 or something? 480 plus 11. Yeah, 11.90. It still was good as far as I'm concerned because, it paid for my ride there and, back. That's $10. And so I cashed those. I went inside and cashed them in and everything. Did a little running around in ShopRite. I think I picked up some hamburger and a little pack of baby ribs and not too much because I still wanted to go to Stop and Shop across the street. And boy, was having a problem getting across the street. That traffic, I tell you, it was like a racetrack. And when you on a scooter like that and you sitting down low, sometimes the drivers can't see you or they're not expecting to see you. So you really got to be cautious. You got to look out for them. These cars that are coming by you at racetrack speed. Like, where the heck are y'all going? And so anyway, I went into, before I went across the street, I went to Walmart. I picked up a few things in Walmart. I think I got some peaches and I bought myself another pair of those drawstring, comfortable pants. I don't even know if I can fit them or not. It was size 20 and I usually get a 2X, but it said double X. So I said, well, hey, it must be the size of my, ones before I gained weight. And I haven't even tried them on, like I said. And they was $10.98 or something like that. But anyway, I finally gets over to Stop and Shop. And I got in Stop and Shop and bought, I don't know, quite a bit in Stop and Shop. As much as it would fit in my scooter, because my scooter is already weighted down. And I knew I couldn't get too much because I didn't have that much money. Okay, I'm done shopping. I'm calling my ride. I'm outside because I don't want to, be out there talking like some people talking all loud in the store. And they have no respect because they're around there on their phone. How do you go shopping and talking and socializing with whoever at the same time like that? And some can be very loud, I tell you. But anyway, I was outside and talking, and there's a bus stop right there as you come out of Stop and Shop. The bus stops right there, and so there's a few people up there, and so I drove. I had the courtesy to drive away from the people so that I could hear what I'm saying, and so I could hear what the operator on the other end is saying. And so I told them, I said, I'm ready to go now. I'm sorry, man, we had no more appointments for today. What? I called you this morning. She said, you have to cut. And ooh, the voices, those voices, the same type of voices that you hear on when you call Amazon, that was enough to set me off. It made I could feel my pressure going up. I said, well, let me speak to someone else. I said, a supervisor or someone. I said, because I told them that I would call them when I was ready. And she said, okay, hold on 1 minute now. Boo. And so by this time, steam is coming out of my nose and my ears got like, cartoons, how the smoke comes out of your ears and the smoke is, you snorting like a bull. Okay, well, that's the way I was feeling, y'all. I got to admit, I had reached my milestone or whatever. I was just like Popeye. Like I said, I stood all I could stand, so I couldn't stand no more. Because my day went horrible. It was going so bad. And I said, okay, I'm just going to hang up because they had me holding on for a while. I said, I'm going to ride my scooter home. What the heck? And guess what, y'all? That's what I did. I drove my scooter home. Remember that time I told you I had gotten lost a long time ago? Well, that's where I was at. I was there, right there in that same territory. And I rode my scooter home. And it felt good riding out there, just riding. The only complaint I had about riding home was the bad sidewalks. There was bad sidewalks in certain areas, which I got to try to slow down my scooter and ease over and all that kind of stuff. Other than that, easy peasy. It took me about an hour to get home though, because I didn't go the bike trail. I didn't go the whole way the bike trail because a certain part of that bike trail I didn't like. And so I waited until I got to a certain area and then I turned off and turned onto the bike trail. And when I got on that bike trail, I'm telling you, it was like boom, boom. I was home in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, y'all. And on that note, I said, did I say more? I had talked up here. I can't see the time, but I've been up here for it looks like a 2. 2, 2, yeah. Can't hardly see that without my glasses, y'all. But I think I've been up here over 20 minutes. And I thank you and appreciate y'all for listening to my, I don't know, complaints. I'm definitely complaining today, y'all. Ain't no doubt about it. I ain't just explaining. I am complaining today. But I forgot to ask you how you doing. How are you? I'm doing much better today, y'all. Matter of fact, I just got I just got back out of a bed. I've been up and then I got back up out of the bed. And then I see all these dishes, which are, it's not that many. My coffee cups and my, my, what do you call this thing? Thermos. And that's it. And my cereal bowls and stuff like that. That's it. And on that note, I go with love, and I'll see you again soon before you know it.